Hey everybody. Firstly, yes, my hair is pink. I dyed it on the weekend for a party. It is temporary. It should come out in a couple of weeks. I've always kind of wanted to dye my hair pink and this was a really good excuse to try it. Secondly, this video is going to be slightly different. It's still connected to motherhood, but it's something else that I feel really passionately about and I wanted to share here. I know that a number of you may or may not agree with me and that's totally fine. I don't mind. I wanted to put it out there because I feel like it's a challenge we all need to tackle together. So before having kids, Blair and I obviously had many discussions about parenting and what our expectations were going to be of our parenting and on each other. And obviously since then our expectations have changed a whole bunch. It hasn't played out to plan. We don't get it perfect and it's probably going to continue to change every day for the rest of our lives. That's just the nature of the beast. But we did want to discuss it before we had kids, so we had a vague idea of what we were going into. And one thing specifically that I wanted to talk about was how Blair was going to be as a dad. I'm very, very blessed to have an incredibly hands-on husband. In fact, very soon I'm going to get Blair in on one of these videos to talk about daddying and how to step up in that area. What I wanted to clarify was how I was going to be viewing Blair as a dad. There is a horrible dad culture out there right now. On the one hand, there are these dads that do not want to step up. They don't help mums the way they should. They don't play the role that they should be in raising their kids. And that is so hard. That is heartbreaking for those mums, that is heartbreaking for those kids, and that is heartbreaking for those dads who are missing out on the joy of being a dad. But there is another side to this culture, which is this sarcastic, critical, stereotyping culture towards dads through comments, attitudes, jokes, making it sound like dads are deadbeats, useless, lazy, unloving, uncaring, stupid. The list goes on and on. How many jokes have you heard people make about clueless dads? Or how many memes are shared about these useless, lazy dads that don't know what they're doing and don't have anything to do with their kids? It's a really common theme and I fully believe it's an incredibly damaging one as well. It's carried out in obvious ways like through jokes and memes and movies and all of that kind of thing, but it's also carried out in really subtle ways through tiny little wording changes or dismissive remarks. The one that gets me all the time is when people are like, oh, is daddy babysitting his kids? Or is daddy on dad duty? No. Dad is just looking after his kids like mom looks after her kids because he's a dad. That's what he does. How belittling and dismissive for a dad to be told he's babysitting his kids. And it's reinforcing the culture where a dad may turn around and say, actually, I will look after these kids as a temporary carer until their mom is available, then I'll hand them back, and then I'm stepping back from responsibility. From a slightly different angle, something that bothers me a little bit is the praise that Blair gets for being a hands-on dad. And I love that he's a hands-on dad, and I love that people recognize that, but when they praise him for being so hands-on, it just does this little niggly thing inside me where I'm like, they're thinking, oh, good for you being so hands-on, and on the flip side of that is because Amy can't do it all herself. And I know that they don't mean that. I know that they're not saying that at all, but there is just this tension inside. Good old mommy guilt just reinforces that one for me. And in my mind I'm like, no, he's just being a dad and I'm being a mom and we should be sharing the load. That's how it should be. By continuing to use these little subtleties, we're both disabling dads from stepping up into the role that they should be taking and excusing them for when they aren't stepping up. I know that those stereotypes are some people's reality and that is really hard, but I think what I'm passionate about is that we're never going to change those stereotypes until we change the culture that is reinforcing them. In most cases, whether situationally or naturally, I feel like mums learn their kids quickly. They learn how to parent quickly. Although not always, like in our case with Charlie, I was actually under general anesthetic for a number of hours after Charlie was born. So things got explained to Blair, like how to change his nappy, when to feed him, how to change his clothes. And then later on, when we started giving him formula, the process of preparing the formula was explained to Blair, so he became formula king. So there was actually a number of times in the first couple of weeks where he would teach me something. And I'm actually really grateful for that because I feel like it just gave him a bit of a slingshot into being a confident dad. But for the most part, women are the ones that learn their babies first. They're usually the ones that keep their schedule in mind. Their bodies tell them things that men's bodies simply don't tell them. And they get more time to streamline processes in parenting. Dads need to learn how to be dads. But how many people would actually be motivated to really learn something if they were being taught half-heartedly or critically and already set up to fail before they'd even started? How many times do mums, and I'm 100% guilty of this, ask their husbands to do something and then stop them halfway through because they're doing it wrong or they're not doing it the way their mums would do? Or how many times do mums say, I'll do this because daddy doesn't know how to do this, or I can't go out because daddy doesn't know how to put the kids to bed or how to bathe the kids? How many times do those things come out of our mouths? It happens all the time. I know that there are dads out there that won't step up even when they're given the chance, but I honestly feel like we need to change the way we talk about parenting. Not just help the dad step up, but just as importantly, to help mums deal with the pressure of parenthood. There are so many mums struggling with the pressure of parenthood. If there weren't, there'd be no purpose in me making these videos. And there are always going to be struggles. It's not like we're going to get rid of them. Every parent's going to excel at something where another person doesn't. Each individual brings different gifts to the table, and I know there are things that mums are going to do more naturally than dads are going to do. Breastfeeding is a really good example of that one. But I think this is a culture that we really need to tackle if we want to see change. And this is not just a challenge to mums, this is a challenge to dads, to brothers, to sisters, to best friends, to everyone. Anyone who knows a parent, this is a challenge to you. And most importantly, this is a challenge to myself. To change this culture, everyone needs to take a step back and just think, how are we talking about parenting and talking about parents? Am I being critical and disabling people from stepping up into these roles? Or am I encouraging and enabling them to be the best parent that they can be? And I just wanted to just put the light on towards parents, about parents. Oh my gosh, we're being taught half-heartedly, for mums, for dads, for kids. You know what I'm saying. Let's start this again.